We are placed at SCEP Center here in Regina. At SCEP, they have children who have behavioral and speech issues. They regulate their behavior and practice their speech through therapeutic play. There are 2 different playrooms in the building so that children aren't as overstimulated and that there can be some separation and smaller groups. There's also a classroom where the older children who are starting to be put into kindergarten will go to have an idea of what is expected of them, and also to help them work on what they're learning in school if they're already attending.
So our role at SCEP is to accompany the children as they play. It's usually on a one-on-one basis, so like one volunteer or staff member to one child. We assist the children with their communication skills, so we talk about what they're doing, what they're playing with. This helps the child relate words they're learning with the environment around them. We also let the children explore their emotions, so if they're frustrated or if they're angry, but we talk about the proper responses to those feelings. So instead of lashing out when they're frustrated and yelling, we talk about how they can properly deal with that emotion. So some of the things that we learned from being at SCEP is the importance of your interaction with the child. Children learn greatly by modeling the behavior of others, so as adults, we need to make sure that we set a good example with our behavior and that we're not going to set a bad example for the children. Also, don't stereotype the children. They can be easily misunderstood. Many of the kids at SCEP were of Indigenous background, and there's a stereotype that could go along with Indigenous children. So there's always reasons why the children act a certain way or why they exhibit certain behavior. It could be family problems or issues at home. They could not be with their parents, things like that. The children are all capable. Sometimes they just may need extra help when doing day-to-day tasks. They may be unsure of how to properly communicate with each other, so they may need help in that aspect.
While at SCEP, I learned that letting children explore their feelings is more beneficial than telling them how to feel their emotions. That by letting them explore their feelings, they can react in the way they want to, and they have a padded room there. So if a child is angry or upset, they can go into that pillow room and crash around without endangering themselves or others. And I think that's an important thing for them to be able to do. I also learned a new way of interacting with the children. Typically when you talk to a child, you ask them a lot of questions about what they're doing, why they're doing what they're doing. But at SCEP, instead of doing that, you narrate whatever they do. You narrate their actions, their feelings, what they're saying. And this helps them to understand what they're doing and how they're feeling. And it's beneficial in many ways.
So how does our experience at SCEP connect to the course? I learned a lot about child development in the course and the different theories toward child development and the different things that can affect a child's development. So this was something that I could definitely see when we were at SCEP, how different family situations affected the child and their behavior, and how it affected how they dealt with certain things. It also helped me, learning about child development also helped me know how I should react to their behavior, and that it's not that they're bad kids, it's that they have things that have affected them in their life, and that's why they act a certain way. We also talked a lot about in the course how representing the different families and different cultures is very important. This is something that was very evident at SCEP. They had different aspects of Indigenous culture, for example. They had teepees, they had books, and they also talked to the children about their culture. This was important because it gave the child a sense of self and a sense of belonging at SCEP. And because it's a learning environment, it helped them to relate a good learning environment. So when they go into school, they will be able to see school as a good learning environment and a safe place.
Another way that SCEP represents culture is by the dolls that they have to play with. There's about 6 or 7 dolls, and they had a variety of skin tones. allowing the child to pick and choose what doll they wanted to play with and feeling represented in their play. And I think that's very important. Another way we can connect to the class is Erickson's theory. It relates because children attending SCEP haven't always had the best home life, and so using basic trust versus mistrust, it makes it hard for them to trust people. And so our relationships that we attempted to make with these children were affected because we maybe didn't necessarily go more than once a week, or the children weren't always there every week when we did go. And so even though we tried to make a larger connection with these kids, there were elements that were against us when it came to that.